Good morning and welcome, Beacon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist congregation in Summit, New Jersey, land of the Lenni Lenape. And I want to extend a special welcome to guests we have from the Plainfield congregation. Yeah. I'm this morning's worship associate, Helen Kerr. I answer to she. And if you're with us online, would you please share your name in the chat? And if this is your first Sunday with us, if you're interested, you can come forward at the end of the service and we will treat you to a short tour of our space. After this service, I invite you to go to our other property at 695 Springfield Avenue, where we're going to dedicate our labyrinth, the work of our own Robin Tanner.
That's the idea. Brandon May Ortiz.
Okay, sorry. This morning marks an annual rite of passage. We are going to hear our fifth graders share their beliefs and values as they evolve. And if you think about a moment of your beliefs and values, hopefully still evolving, what still brings you wonder, light, meaning, enlightenment? That's what we hope to explore a bit today. And I want to especially thank you for bringing your light here today so that together we can magnify the light.
Good morning. My name is Misa Iwama, and I'm the Director of Music Ministry. My pronouns are she, her, and welcoming also John O'Neill, the pianist. And we're going to start this morning by singing hymn 1017, which is Building a New Way. But we're also going to start it a new way today, and that is by asking you to be an instrument and to use the instrument you each have in your own bodies, meaning your voice. So we're going to have you provide the sound of the room. So the sound is going to go up to the ceiling and come back down and fall upon you. And I'm asking you to just sing like this. And some people can split off in another direction and sing this. So you can just continue that drone, as we call it. That sound just continues. We listen as we hear us all singing together. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. That is such a beautiful sound. We are building a new way. I invite you to stand in body or spirit as you are able and join in singing from the top. Here we go. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Reverend Robin Beloved. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the great honor of being a member of your lead ministry team with Dr. Tooley, who is here today, and Reverend Emily, who is on sabbatical. Our theme for this month is wonder. It's the season of wonderment, and as I light the symbol of our faith, the chalice, would you wonder with me for a moment at this symbol? A symbol first used as a signal of safety, a sign to refugees in the 1930s and 40s that there was a passage to safety, a symbol brought back to the U.S. after the war, and then shared among Unitarian congregations as our faith was changing, evolving, then brought as the symbol of these two faiths, Unitarianism and Universalism, who dared to dream that we could be gathered by more than just belief, by more than just a creed, that it could be our deeds, our embodied faith that would hold us together. This symbol that gathers Unitarian Universalists all over the country that we share from Plainfield to Summit, and the very few towns in between, and a great deal, many places even around the world. Come wonder with me for 1 second longer at this flame which has endured and is now our responsibility to keep kindled for those who will follow.
Morning, friends. I'm Tuli Patel. I have the honor of being a member of your lead ministry team, as well as the lead for our lifespan programs for children and youth alongside Jermaine, as well as Dana Moore. If you come Sunday nights, you can meet Dana. So in our lifespan program, we say we are committed to raising confident, compassionate, and resilient youth and children. And I was thinking this morning, what are some symbols? How would we show confidence? What do you think?
How would you embody confidence?
There you go.
Throwing up the
Confidence.
guns.
How about compassion? How would you, like, what's a symbol like this maybe, or helping hands? How about resilience? Like this again? I was thinking of bubbles in a fizzy drink, but then something happens to them at the top, so I wasn't too sure about
Yeah,
that.
maybe spring.
Anyway, so today we are going to see how our goals of raising resilient, confident, and compassionate children and youth are embodied in our fifth graders, whom you're going to hear from in a little bit. So our program, I'm basically giving away the entire program now, is a lifelong journey of thinking and reflecting and clarifying and then speaking out loud your beliefs, your thoughts, your values. So what we do is we have 2 workshops on Friday nights. We have pizza and ice cream. We run around the building. We play flashlight tag. It's a lot of fun. But at the first workshop, what we do is we have basically a what you might in the old days call an auction. These days we prefer to call it a fundraiser, and we sell off our values. So let me ask you, if I were to sell off being a good friend versus being honest, which one would you bid on? Friend? Anyone for friend? That would bid higher than being honest? Because remember, you can lie to your friends, right? Right. How about playing video games? Come on, young ones. Playing video. 2 hands from Sammy. Playing video games as opposed to the freedom to make my own choices. Oh, but then you have the freedom to choose to play video games, do you not? How about practicing my own religion? No one ever bids on this one.
One in the back, though.
Oh, we got practicing my own religion as opposed to giving back to the community. That's not fair. From here, we move to thinking about life events that are in our control and those that are beyond our control. So give me some examples of what's in your control. What are some life events in your control? Being kind. Being kind is in your control. What else?
Breathing.
Breathing, an interesting one. Maybe if you don't have a illness that's compromising your breath. Yes, okay. Other people?
How you act.
Going to the gym, how you act. Yes, okay. How about things that are not in your control? What is not in your control, Sammy? When or how you die? How about something less macabre than that? Because got some young people in the room. Taxes, Laura.
Death and
The weather, things not in our control. So then what we ask our fifth graders to do is consider the things that are in their control, the choices they make, and think about how these choices might or might not be linked to one of the 8 Unitarian Universalist principles. And then we say, what are you doing about it? So that's what the fifth grade rite of passage really is. And then voila, suddenly you have statements from our fifth graders, which you're going to hear about today.
So, as Julie was saying, we don't often speak out loud what it is that we find is truly important. I mean, let's be honest, as you use, we've got opinions about everything from breakfast cereal all the way to immigrant reform.
Too much sugar, Jimmy.
Too much, but at the same time, Cocoa Puffs, I'm just saying. We end up finding these really tiny select groups of people in our little echo chambers on social media and our public spaces where we quick to say what we don't believe, but we rarely speak about what we do believe. And I don't know, I think maybe it's perhaps by doing so we're thinking that we're maybe imposing our beliefs on others, but it's that risk of disagreement that we have to risk, and that's a lot of what these children have done during these 2 weeks periods. And it's so rare that we put these things down on paper so somebody can document what it is that we said, and it's even harder to see us living it in our everyday lives. So that's what our fifth graders are going to do for us today. So right now, it is time for us to hear from these courageous young people, and the first one I'd like to call up would be Caitlin Freeman.
Leading us forward. Come on up, Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, and the principle each person is important stands out to me because my friends and family, and even just random people, all have important impacts in my life, big or small, good or bad alike. My parents, of course, have one of the largest impacts on me. Basically, what they do, I do. Since I'm an only child, their influences at home are what I do at school or in public, whereas my friends are there for me, but they're only there when I go to them. Whereas for me, choosing friends is really important, for they're the only kids that I talk to or spend time with, and I live with my parents. Finally, just one act of kindness done by a person I don't even know can leave me walking off and smiling for the rest of the day. I feel that whether what they do is big or small, it still means something to me, but sometimes it's the wrong person. Some kids at school might not like me. They might be mean to me. This helps me learn how to tell who might be mean and who might not. All of this describes how the first principle, each person is important to me, because it shows me how very different people every day or just once can make an impact on me and my decisions. If someone is mean, I can feel the pain. This shows me what not to do ever to another person. If someone is happiness, it makes me feel nice and tells me what the right thing is to do. This shows me that everyone has different impacts in my life. This shows that everyone is important in many different ways. Thank you.
Well done. You can go back. I'd like to call up Paolo.
The UU principle which speaks to me the most is the 7th principle, which can be summarized as respect the earth, our home. The reason I chose this principle is because the earth is very important to our survival since it provides us with water, oxygen, and food which we need to live. Also, other life forms need a healthy earth to survive as well, like pets or other animals. Climate change and pollution are a danger to the health of the earth. Climate change is causing environmental changes like melting ice regions that impact the survival of certain species. Pollution is poisoning the water which affects animals and that live in it and the sources of our drinking water. I can take action to respect the earth and protect our planet by donating to environmental groups that fight climate change. Plus, I can help reduce the pollution by not littering, as well as joining organizations that clean up the polluted areas.
Jocelyn?
My name is Jocelyn Hoyos. I am 10 years old, and the principle that speaks to me the most is the second principle, be kind in all you do. You should be kind in all you do because I believe that it is important to be nice to people even if they're not nice to you. There is a girl in my class that is not always nice to me or others. She's angry because someone made fun of her because she is adopted. I wasn't there, but I know it's wrong. You should still be kind to others even if they're not always kind to you.
Jermaine is going to be reading for Alexander Contract, and I will be reading for Graham.
Alexander says, the things I love are a big part of who I am. One thing I especially love is nature. I love nature because I love the 4 seasons, especially winter and fall. So the principle that means the most to me is the 7th principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. How I live it is by being out in nature as much as I can. My favorite place to be is in Monterey, Massachusetts in the Berkshires. The house is surrounded by beautiful nature, and in the fall, the leaves that fall are mind-blowing. From small giants to red and brown, so much variety. And when me and my family go to the Berkshires, there's a stream behind my house that leads very far off into the woods. I love to explore it with my sister and brother. We can get lost and stay back there all day. Sometimes we see little critters like possums and wild turkeys. Once we even heard a bobcat and saw a bear on the same day. Sometimes we come across benches and graveyards in the winter and we get to walk on the ice. Another part I love about winter is skiing, because the Berkshires gets a lot of snow. To be honest, I also love summer and spring, because I love to kayak, either when the sun sets or rises, and I love to swim in ponds and lakes. Once, my brother, sister, and I found a snorkel at the bottom of the lake. Nature is fascinating and amazing. It is my rock.
Graham says, the first principle, each person is important, means the most to me. You should be allowed to make choices and not have to do what everyone else does. One time when I was in class, our teacher said that we would play a game. We needed everybody in equal groups because then it would be fair. I told the teacher that I didn't want to play, so the groups were uneven. Everyone was mad at me and my choice, except my friends. I could tell they were laughing even though they had masks on. I thought it was funny too, but I didn't really want to play that game. And that's okay.
And there you have it. In 4 short years as 9th graders, you're going to hear from these guys again, because they're going to stand before you and present a more thorough and detailed understanding of their beliefs as teens and Unitarian Universalists. They will have the tools for discernment necessary to help them continue building their own theology and building the confidence to share that vision with the world. And so we invite you to consider these questions too. Which of our 8 principles speaks to you? Are you living these values aloud, or are you just playing them lip service? May we remain open to what we discover about ourselves on this lifelong journey of discernment, and may we stand strong and make the sometimes uncomfortable changes necessary for each of us to mature as people of faith. Thank you.
And we'll just close by saying that what we've asked our kids to do, which is stand up here and speak, is not an easy thing to do. So might want to reflect on what it would be like to do what our fifth graders have done. I'd like all our fifth graders to come up, including Kiran. And if Alexander and Charlotte are here, them too, come on up. Come. You don't have to do anything. Don't be scared. So come here. Pretend we're playing flashlight tag. Turn around. Turn around. So just turn around. Turn around. Remember, this is your spiritual home, and the congregation is going to show its... Wait, let them all line up so we can get the photograph. Here we go. All right, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dennis Mannion. I'm a member of the chaplain team here at Beacon. And our role as chaplains is to extend the spiritual care of our community. I think we just saw a wonderful example of how that manifests in our community. We define spiritual care as intentional compassion through presence and listening. We recognize that everyone needs care at different points in our lives. And we offer ourselves as resources for deep listening, and in that listening, provide a foundation for healing. If you have a question about our chaplain program, you can see me after the service, or any member of the ministry team, or whether you're here with us in the sanctuary or at home virtually joining us this morning, you can learn more about our chaplain program on our Beacon website. You can go to the homepage, just look under the tab that says Healing the World, and you'll find out a lot of good information about our chaplain program. All conversations are held in strict confidence. Another way we extend spiritual care of our community is by facilitating our weekly ritual of candlelighting. And this morning, we light a candle of commemoration on the occasion this week of World AIDS Day, and of sorrow for the millions of people worldwide affected by HIV who have in recent years seen progress stalled, resources shrunk, and lives remaining at risk. We also light a candle of gratitude for bipartisan congressional passage of the Respect for Marriage Act, a small but very important step forward toward national recognition that love is love. A candle of gratitude for the many ways our congregation contributes to our community, most recently, just last weekend, through the efforts of the stewardship and pastoral care teams, who coordinated assembly of care packages for our unhoused neighbors and cards and treats for Beacon folks with mobility challenges. For this and so much more, we invite you now to come forward to light a candle in our sanctuary or wherever you may be.
I invite you to come forward down the center aisle and actually come forward two at a time as Dennis and Helen light your candle for you.
That we should be at all, that's certainly a miracle. And you'd think that it would leave us in a state of constant wonder. But we can't live in a constant state of wonder. So it's good to set aside moments like these when we are together to remember it and to marvel. I invite you now, whether you are at home or here, to join in a meditation, first spoken and then silent. If you want to participate, you may want to sit up straight in your chairs. Put your feet flat on the floor. Relax your breathing. Rest your hands comfortably in your lap. And you may want to close your eyes. Now, take a long, easy breath way down into your belly. Hold it gently, and then exhale. And as you continue to breathe in this way, starting from the crown of your head, relax any tension in your forehead, around the tender skin, around your eyes and mouth, and your jaw. Release any tightness that you are holding in your throat and chest. Soften the muscles in your torso and limbs, your feet and fingers. As you sit resting, imagine you can feel your body replacing atoms, taking them from whatever you have eaten to recreate you. Imagine you can feel this patient, meticulous process that in 5 years replaces almost every atom. How is it possible that every day when you wake up, you are still you? Think how old you are now and how many yous you have been, always changing and yet the same. Are you 10 or 11? Then you have already finished your second you. Are you 70? Then you are a miracle of ongoing rebirth 7 times over. Do you remember what you ate 3 weeks ago? Probably not. But now, how is it that it remembers you? Now slowly, as you are ready, please bring your attention back into the service.
This is a song by Allie Halpert, which Unitarian youth have been singing in groups for the past couple of years. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go.
Thank you, Misa. Thank you, John. This is the second of 3 Sundays where our plate collection is dedicated to 4 organizations working to alleviate food and housing insecurity. Those organizations are the First Unitarian in Plainfield's Food Pantry. Hey, Plainfield's in the house. SHIP, which stands for Summit Helping Its People, Summit Warm Hearts, which is a program of the Summit Interfaith Council, and GRACE. And Suzanne Wagner, who is a volunteer with GRACE, is here to share a bit with us about the organization today.
Good morning. My name is Suzanne Wagner. My pronouns are she, her. Not only am I a member here at Beacon, but I'm also a core volunteer with GRACE. I first learned about GRACE and the work they do through a talk much like this here at Beacon. But it wasn't until 8 months ago that I started volunteering. I made the decision to bring my daughter to GRACE to give back to the community in a more meaningful way. As my daughter and I were leaving GRACE that night, my daughter turned to me and said, "Mom, I had no idea so many people in Summit needed help." That night, I fell in love with GRACE and decided this was not a one-time event, but GRACE will be a part of my life for a long while. Since then, I have only missed a few Thursday nights. GRACE stands for Giving, Receiving, Accessing Community Essentials. When many people in Summit think about GRACE, they think it is a food pantry that distributes food at Coronach Fieldhouse on Thursday nights. This is just a part of what GRACE does. GRACE meets community needs with community resources to enable the good health and success of our vulnerable and underserved neighbors. Some of the community resources that GRACE provides to our community are assistance with obtaining SNAP benefits, connecting people with heating assistance, assistance in obtaining driver's licenses, medical screenings, dental screenings, an annual flu shot clinic, And this year, we also provided over 400 coats to adults and children in the community. Our weekly distribution, which occurs on Thursdays, provides families with fresh produce, milk, eggs, bread, toilet paper, and shelf-stable food items. In addition, we provide families with diapers, cleaning products, hygiene items, feminine hygiene products, and upon request, pet food and laundry detergent. Each week, we distribute 16,000 pounds of food and have never missed a week of distribution, even with hurricanes, snowstorms, and COVID. During the first 3 months of COVID, our families increased by 500%. Currently, we are providing goods for over 500 families a week, with 642 families being our record high number, and that was just 2 weeks ago. 75% of the families we serve are from Summit, and the other 25 come from 15 different communities in the area. Thursday nights at Coronach are nights filled with joy and appreciation. The look on a child's face when they get a new winter coat, to the appreciation expressed by every person that comes through the line when they get the essentials their family depends on. And the looks on the volunteers' faces as we go through the nights are just part of what keeps me going back week after week. The work that Grace does is an essential part of the community, and as one woman put it on Thursday night, Grace is literally keeping my family alive. You have no idea how much this means to us, and we have no idea how you do it every week. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you in advance, beloved, for your generosity. Our morning offering will now be most gratefully received.
Would you please stand in body or spirit and join in singing hymn 1010, We Give Thanks. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
We have two readings this morning, and the first comes from Ta-Nehisi Coates. I remembered that once, as a child, I was filled with wonder that I had marveled at tri-folded science projects, encyclopedias, and road atlases. I left much of that wonder somewhere back in Baltimore. Now, I had the privilege of welcoming it back like a long-lost friend, though our reunion was laced with grief. I mourned over all the years that were lost. The mourning continues. Even today, from time to time, on beaches watching 6-year-olds learn to surf, or at colleges listening to sophomores slip from English to Italian, or at cafes seeing young poets flip through the wasteland, or listening to the radio where economists explain economic things that I could have explored in my lost years. I find myself mourning, hoping that I and all my wonder, my long-lost friend, have not yet run out of time, though I know that we all run out of time, and some of us run out of it faster. The second reading is a poem by Cynthia Ryland. God went to beauty school. He went there to learn how to give a good perm and ended up just crazy about nails. So he opened up his own shop, Nails by Jim, he called it. He was afraid to call it Nails by God. He was sure people would think he was being disrespectful and using his own name in vain, and nobody would tip. He got into nails, of course, because he always loved hands. Hands were some of the best things he'd ever done. And this way, he could just hold one in his and admire those delicate bones just above the knuckles, delicate as bird wings. And after he'd done that a while, he could paint all the nails any color he wanted, then say, beautiful, and mean it.
It's true that good deal many of my experiences of wonder have come through my children or other people's children. They kind of come into the world with this expansive sense of curiosity. Lately, 4-year-old Ariana has taken to, when we pick her up from aftercare, exclaiming as she walks out the door, because it's dark at that point, "The moon!" Each time as if it's never happened before. It's actually really amazing. And as we drive home, she will point it out to us how it has moved and where it is now, so that none of us lose track of the wonderful moon. Then there's Benjamin, who's just started back at preschool after being out for the first 2 years of the pandemic. And at our family, at dinner time, we have a practice that we took from youth group, actually, of each sharing our high and low from the day. And it's gotten so popular now that everyone's raising their hand at the dinner table to be first to share their high and low. Well, the first day after attending preschool, Benjamin gave us the rundown and said that his high was that at preschool, they let you take a nap. 2 weeks later, he raised his hand again with fervor and said that his high was that they still let him take a nap. Can you imagine? I got to drink a cup of coffee this morning again. My hardest lesson, though, in wonder did not come from a child, but came from a Roman Catholic priest in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let me explain. I had just graduated seminary and decided to do a year-long program in chaplaincy where you rotate through a hospital and you are part of a small group of other students just beginning in religious leadership. You take all manner of classes and you each have an instructor or two, but the program really relies upon that group of students. And so they're chosen with great intention to have some diversity in the group, of personality, of religious background, and also life stages. And so it was, we came to our group. Our group in Albuquerque, New Mexico in that year was co-led by these two instructors who could not have been more different. There was Jenny Lanham, who was about as Southern as you get. She had bright red hair and taught me phrases like, "This pie is so good it makes you want to slap your mama." I'm working to understand that one. And she loved cows. And so everywhere in her office were porcelain cows and stuffed little, toy cows and embroidered framed cows just everywhere. And then there was Stephen, who was the other instructor, Stephen Goss, who was very ordered and measured in his speech and very introspective, definitely an introvert. And his office was always perfectly aligned. There was nothing personal in the space at all, and everything was always in place, even the stapler. Now, within the weeks of the program, it was pretty clear that I was not getting along with one of the other students, a young man named Robert who was studying to be a Catholic priest. He was very conservative, had lots of opinions that he delivered as facts, and he didn't tend to like me. Hard to believe, but the tension got worse and worse, and eventually it became disruptive to the process because neither of us were speaking in the small groups that were supposed to be the main site of our learning. And so near Christmas, Jenny Lanham pulled me aside, and she said, "Now, Robin, you're just about to pound Robert into the ground, and it's not a fair fight when a raccoon gets a hold of a chicken." The chicken or the raccoon? I averted her gaze, trying to figure it out, and found myself staring face to face with a large cow. She continued, "I want you to try some pastoral curiosity with that man. Holy curiosity. Ask questions about him." My expression must have indicated the type of questions that I was asking, and they were not the charitable ones, because she said, "Not those kind of questions. I want you to really try. In fact, Robin, I am insisting on it." Now, Jenny Lanham rarely insisted on anything except peach cobbler and cows, so I knew that I'd better try. And I did. I even reached out to a colleague, Jamie, and tried all manner of things. I got a spiritual director, but I just kept hitting a wall. And it came to a head when one night I was on duty and there was a baby in distress. The parents were Catholic, and they asked for a priest to be called in to baptize the baby because they were very worried. But the priest couldn't get there. And so, being the only chaplain in the hospital, I baptized the baby, who thankfully recovered and was later discharged healthy from the hospital. Robert, however, felt that I had made the wrong call, the proof being that the child survived. I was running late one day for my shift, and Robert had been finishing the overnight shift. And so I was all kinds of tense. You know that feeling? I just knew I was going to get in there and he was going to go up one side of me and down the other for being late after he had worked 12 hours and done everything right. When I got into the office, I was informed that Robert was not in the on-call room where you could get a little bit of rest, which is what I was expecting. He was in the NICU. "Oh, had there been a call?" I asked. No, he's just in the NICU. I don't know. So I went up to the 7th floor. And I was rushing in until I saw him. There was Robert after a 12-hour shift that I later learned was a hellacious shift, call after call after call. And there he was, holding a very small infant with all manner of wires and tubes coming out of them, just rocking this little baby who needed to be held. There was no crisis, no emergency. He just decided, since I was late, he would go and hold a baby. Wow. It was a small window into loving Robert. And by the end of that year, we became good colleagues. Our small groups this month will ask each other, is it possible to love someone without being in some way in awe of them? It is easy, isn't it, to take folks for granted? Maybe most especially those whom we think we know oh so well. Long-term relationships, friendships across decades, maybe a membership in a place or a community that you've been a part of, a neighborhood, marriages that see 20, 30, 40 years, cousins who call each other every week. They say contempt kills relationships, and I think that's true. But I think it's because it cuts off our ability to wonder and be in awe of one another, so convinced we are of the story we have. In the words of Valerie Kaur, joy is the gift of love, grief is the price of love, anger protects that which is loved, and when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. I've been having a hard time seeking wonder with our 4-year-old son. He's been struggling with his asthma, and so he's had several rounds of steroid treatments in addition to extra inhalers that he's on, and all of the medications make him highly irritable and yet very awake. It's a great combination. He has a habit of, when he's getting very agitated, starting to yell at those around him, saying, "Stop talking to me," even if you're not talking. We were coming home from a doctor's appointment the other day, and he was full-blown into one of these moods. It was just the two of us in the car, and he'd been yelling at me, and I was tired, and it started raining, and I really just wanted to get home to get in a room different than the one that he would be in. We were on 280, and we passed a very large cemetery, and suddenly, in the middle of his tantrum, Benjamin said, "Honey, that's a lot of dead people." Sure is. And he continued, "But that's just their bodies. Their souls go somewhere else." "Where do their souls go, honey?" And I was ready, because this was my moment, right? As a minister and a parent, I've been waiting. Oh, how do I answer this? Okay. Well, people believe different things, I said. Benjamin, sensing a long answer, said, "Can you just tell me?" Well, I said, "I think maybe they're all around us." And he said, "Oh, like when we sing at Beacon and we say, 'Rise in body or in spirit'? Are the souls with us then, maybe?" "Maybe so," I said, Benjamin. There's a story of a rabbi who was up at the Bema, and he's trying to finish his sermon, and his young son is in the congregation, and every time his son hears his voice, he starts fussing. And the rabbi keeps trying to go on with the sermon, but it's not working. And so finally he goes down, he picks up his young son, and he continues as the son tugs at his tie and moves his hair about, and then at last grabs the man's glasses and tosses them to the floor. And the congregation kind of pauses, uncertain what's going to happen next. And it's then that the rabbi says, when do we stop wondering at each other? Is it when we become a toddler, a 7-year-old, a 5th grader, 25 years old, 38, 62? When do we become unlovable? When do we stop wondering at each other the ways in which we see such wisdom and beauty and gifts in our children? When do we stop seeing those windows, those entry points to loving anew? Our 5th graders help me to remember to love Unitarian Universalism anew, to listen to well-worn words with wonder. I love the way Cynthia Rylant takes a whole new take on God, on what is sacred. When she first wrote that book of poetry, exploring all manner of ridiculous things that God does, she had been a children's book author. And she risked a lot in writing that book, unsure of if she would lose her following, if people would find it disrespectful. Instead, they found it delightful. Speaking of children's books, I'm sure a good deal many of you have encountered this book, Love You Forever. Of course, it's a tearjerker if you know the story. It's the story of a mother and her son and how she rocks her son and loves him and sings him this song, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. It takes us through the toddler years, the teen years, the middle-aged mother years, and then an aging parent whose son picks up his mother and rocks her with the same song she sang to him. Now, it's a moving image of this loving relationship between parent and child across the years. But what's astounding to me in the story is that they both refuse to let either one become a stereotype, to become the sum of being a toddler, the sum of being a teenager who's difficult, or a middle-aged know-it-all mother, the sum of an aging, forgetful parent. They keep the wonder, and by consequence, the love in their lives present and growing. Wonder, beloved, our path to sustaining love with friends, with communities, with lovers, with children. So may you wonder at this world, at one another, at the moon each night, at the infants we each were once, at the people we are yet becoming, at the holy still within us, at the stories untold, the tilt of light, the new way to receive well-worn words, the commitment to welcome the holy in the strangest and most beautiful of vessels each day.
Thank you, Robin, for your wisdom. And thank you to everyone who helped lead our service today, including our worship associates and our board greeters and our ushers. Thank you to our EV team for helping us be able to hear and send out our message across the world. Would you please stand in body or spirit, but with your soul, and join me and John Sean O'Neill in singing our hymn Blue Boat Home, which is 1064. It's Blue Boat Home. Low below me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue
Would you take hands with one another, beloved? And as you do so, I'd like to invite you to take a look at those delicate bird bones on the back of the hands. Make it a little weird. Yep, that's good. And we're going to make it weirder if you're ready. I'm going to ask you to look at one another and offer this blessing. Say the word beautiful. And you are. So may you journey in beauty this day and all the days you are granted until we meet again, to seek the beauty within, to seek the beauty in everyone you encounter, and yes, the abundance of beauty on this, our blue boat home. Amen, and blessed be.
you.